My name is Olivia Marston. I'm 36, and the only reason I'm still breathing is because I learned early on that silence is sometimes the loudest scream. I come from a family that prides itself on appearances, high-ranking attorneys, picture-perfect marriages, and trust funds wrapped in polite lies. But I was always the exception, the youngest daughter, the unplanned one, the mistake that showed up after my father's second divorce. While my sister Marisol graduated top of her Ivy League class and married into influence, I raised my daughter Kira alone, with no child support and no applause. I've spent years pretending I didn't notice the whispers, the pity, the subtle punishment for being less. But all of that was manageable, until the night Kira walked through our front door, her eyes swollen from crying, and told me what my brother-in-law said. That was the night I stopped pretending. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the picture frames. I didn't have to look to know it was Kira. I just didn't expect the silence that followed. No footsteps. No backpack dumped on the floor. No teenage muttering about school. Just silence. I turned the corner. She was standing there, frozen mid-step, fists clenched tight at her sides, her mouth trembling. "Mom," her voice was small. "Can we not go back there?" "Back where?" I asked, already knowing. She looked away. Uncle Damon said I was a bastard, that I shouldn't exist. It hit harder than if someone had slapped me across the face. The room dropped 10 degrees. My fingers gripped the edge of the kitchen counter. Damon. Damon Carver. My sister's husband. The man with the perfect jawline, the country club grin, and the venom behind his eyes. What else did he say? My voice was steady, controlled. But inside, everything cracked. Kira swallowed hard. He said you should have taken care of me before I was born. That I was a stain. A problem. She held up her wrist. Red. Bruised. He grabbed me when I tried to leave the room. My vision tunneled. One thought, pounding. He put his hands on my daughter. The sink dripped once. The echo was deafening. I knelt down in front of her, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Did he hit you?" "No," she whispered. "But he said he'd make sure I didn't come back." I stood up. "Go upstairs. Lock the door. Do not open it until I tell you." Her eyes widened. "Are you going to call Aunt Marisol?" "No," I said. "I'm going to make a record." I walked to the hall closet, pulled out the small black lockbox, punched in the 4-digit code, 1987, the year my father left. Inside, an old camcorder, backup drive, burner phone. My version of a panic room. I hit record. This is Olivia Marston. Today is March 9th, 8:43 p.m. I am documenting an incident of verbal and physical intimidation against my daughter, Kira Marston, by Damon Carver, age 45. The individual is the legal spouse of my sister, Marisol Carver. Click. New file. Zoom in. Kira returned home today with a visible bruise on her right wrist. Witness testimony confirms Damon referred to her as a bastard who shouldn't exist. The words tasted like poison. I uploaded the footage to 2 separate cloud drives. One in my name, one in my late father's. The silence in the house was sharp. Alert. Every sound felt amplified. A window creaked. The heater kicked on. And then, a ping. Email notification. Subject, custody review notice. Marston versus unknown. I clicked. Filed 2 hours ago. From a private firm in Charleston. Signed electronically. By Marisol. I read the first line 3 times. Petitioner, Marisol Carver, on behalf of minor Kira Marston, seeks temporary emergency custody due to maternal instability and potential emotional endangerment. My hands clenched. They weren't just insulting my daughter. They were trying to erase us both. He's not just cruel. He knows something I don't, and he's using it. I didn't sleep. At 4:12 a.m., I was still on the couch, fully clothed, laptop open, staring at Marisol's name on the emergency custody petition. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a blueprint. Their plan had already started before Kira came home crying. By 6 a.m., I had Kira in the car, hood over her head, backpack zipped tight. I didn't say where we were going.
She didn't ask.
That scared me more than anything. When a 10-year-old stops asking questions, something's already broken.
Cut scene.
The clinic was 40 miles out.
Quiet.
No digital check-in. Cash only. The receptionist looked up at me like she'd seen this before. Mothers who've already lost too much, showing up before the blood dries. She's safe now, the nurse whispered as they closed the exam door behind me. It didn't feel like safety. It felt like stalling a collapse. I paced the hallway. Read every fire exit sign like a warning. 10 minutes later, the doctor stepped out. Gray scrubs. Calm eyes. Clipboard like a weapon.
She's bruised, he said.
Right wrist. Mild swelling. But it's the verbal trauma I'm documenting. He hesitated. There's something else, he added. She said she's had dreams where her uncle smothers her. Not once. Repeatedly. That's not imagination. That's imprint. I exhaled hard. What happens next? I'll file a standard CPS advisory, just notes for now. Nothing formal unless you push it.
Cut.
By noon, we were back in the car, parked outside a diner where no one knew us. I gave Kira my phone to play games. She didn't touch it, just stared out the window. Then she said, "If you go to jail, will I have to live with Aunt Marisol?" I felt something inside me go still, like silence before a gunshot. You're not going anywhere near her again. Or Damon. I promise. She nodded, but not like she believed it. Cut to home. The second we walked in, I locked the door, pulled the curtains. Something was off. I smelled it before I saw it. Cologne. Not mine. Not Kira's. Too strong. Too placed. I scanned the room. Nothing broken. Nothing missing. Just altered. The mail on the kitchen counter had been shifted. The mugs I washed were stacked differently. One drawer slightly open. I opened it. Empty. That drawer had held the printed custody agreement I'd filed 5 years ago. And my emergency contacts list.
Gone.
Every instinct screamed. They were here. Not police. Not burglars. Someone who knew me. Someone who knew what to look for.
Cut scene.
I checked the outdoor cam.
Dead.
No feed. I yanked the memory card. Charred. Intentionally burned at one corner. Melted plastic. I opened Kira's phone. All her saved voicemails were gone. No backup. I checked deleted items. One file. Corrupted audio.
Static.
One line audible before the clip cut out. She's not yours, Olivia. She never was. I dropped the phone.
Cut to me, gasping.
I ran to my bedroom, pulled the safe from under the bed. My old burner phone still inside. Untouched. I powered it on. Bars flickered. One message waiting. Unknown number. Check the flower pot on your back deck. Third one from the left. I stared at the screen. Walked to the deck. 3 pots. I lifted the third. Under the soil, a micro SD card. No label. Just dirt and cold plastic. I inserted it into my laptop. Folder popped up. /private/redacted/kd m. Custody/. Inside, scanned documents. Medical files. One stood out. Hospital discharge summary. Baby girl, unnamed. Patient, Marisol Carver. Date, 10 years ago. Same week Kira was born. I blinked. The document said, baby healthy, adopted by O. Marston per private agreement. I leaned back.
No. No.
Was it forged? Why would Marisol have a discharge form under my name? I scrolled down. Signatures. One was mine. But I'd never signed that paper. I never saw that file. The other was Marisol's. Sharp.
Precise.
Legal.
Cut scene.
My phone vibrated. Blocked caller. I picked up. A man's voice. Digitally distorted. You were never her mother on paper. You were a cover. That ends now.
Click.
Silence. My breathing filled the room. I looked over at Kira, still curled up, asleep on the couch. A girl born into the wrong lie, dragged through a life designed by someone else. My hands shook. My sister isn't trying to protect Damon. She's protecting something bigger. Maybe herself. At 3:12 a.m., I picked the lock to a storage unit in Edgewater. The cold hit me first, then the mildew, the stale air, and the boxes.
Dozens of them.
Each one with a label I didn't recognize. Except one. Marston, 2015. I sliced the tape with my keys. Inside, medical bills, old journals, scribbled notes on yellow paper, and a manila folder, burnt at one corner. Smelled like it had survived a fire. The label, paternity, private. My hand trembled. I opened it. 3 pages. DNA test. Lab signature. Kira Marston. Alleged father. Redacted. Probability of paternity. 0%. I blinked. Not Jacob. Not the man I thought vanished. The test had been filed.
Hidden.
Stamped confidential. Beneath it, a post-it in Marisol's handwriting. Destroy after final settlement.
Cut scene.
I stepped out of the unit, heart punching my ribs. My car was parked under a flickering street lamp, and the street was too quiet. No dogs. No distant traffic.
Just stillness.
I walked fast. Halfway across the lot, a shadow moved. I spun. Nothing. Just an old woman in the window across the street, staring down at me.
Pale face.
No movement. I unlocked the car, got in, locked it again.
Drove. Fast.
Cut to my living room an hour later. The folder was now in a Ziploc. Labeled.
Stored.
I stared at my laptop screen. A blank document. Words wouldn't come. Instead, I pulled up the local newspaper archive. Typed in Marisol Carver, birth, hospital, sealed record. Nothing. Typed again. Marston adoption filings. One hit. 2014. Petition by Marisol Carver to establish guardianship over a minor. Name sealed. Address, my old apartment. She had filed for Kira. While I was unconscious after surgery. While I had no idea. My blood iced. I clicked the court docket number. Access denied. I called the courthouse. No answer. I didn't sleep.
Cut scene.
Next morning, I drove to the last known address of my ex Jacob, or the man I thought was him. Burnout trailer in Black Bayou. Caved roof.
Torn siding.
Mailbox gone. A man stepped out from the neighbor's yard. Cigarette in hand. No shirt. Tattoos running down one arm. You looking for the ghost? He asked. I froze. You knew Jacob? He laughed once. Bitter. He didn't go by that name long. Left one night. Said he was being paid to disappear. I stepped closer. By who? The man shrugged. Didn't say. Just called her the Storm in Heels. Said she made people vanish like coins in water.
Cut.
I got back in the car. Drove 10 minutes before pulling over and dry heaving on the side of the road. My sister. She didn't just manipulate custody. She made the father disappear. My hands shook as I dialed. My mother picked up on the second ring. Olivia? I need answers. A pause. Breathing. Marisol told us it was better this way. That you couldn't handle raising her alone. That the father was unstable. You signed off on this? I didn't know the full truth. She made it seem clean. Legal. Like you agreed. I hung up. I couldn't scream.
Couldn't cry.
Cut to my hallway. Kira was still asleep. Curled on the couch. Thumb tucked under her chin. The way she used to when she was 5. I opened my closet. Pulled down a shoebox from the top shelf. Inside, an old flash drive. Labeled J, 2013. I hadn't touched it in years. I plugged it in. Only one file inside. Video 001.mp4. I clicked. Static. Then Jacob. My ex. Sitting on a motel bed. Holding a glass of water. If you're watching this, Olivia, it means I didn't make it out. I couldn't breathe. She lied to all of us. Marisol. She made me sign something I didn't understand. Said it was to help you. But it was a trap. Don't trust her. Don't let her near the baby. He looked behind him. The door rattled. I think she knows I'm recording this. The screen glitched. Then it went black. My hands were ice. They weren't just trying to take Kira from me. They'd rewritten her life from the beginning. They don't want Kira. They want her erased. I didn't pack. I grabbed Kira and drove. I didn't tell her where we were going. Just somewhere safe.
She didn't argue.
That silence again, the kind that only lives in kids who've already been through too much. It was past midnight when we reached the cabin. No neighbors. No cell signal. Just trees and shadows. My college friend, Ray, kept it as a weekend escape. Tonight it was a bunker. Kira curled up on the couch and fell asleep with her shoes still on. I double-checked every window lock. Set up a baby monitor, camera pointed at the front door. Wired a backup battery to my laptop. The air felt too still, like something was listening.
Cut scene.
2:46 a.m. I emailed a single contact, Micah Sloan. Former FBI. Now private investigator. The kind of man who doesn't answer unless the problem is already on fire. He called back 10 minutes later. You still use Gmail? He said. That's how I know you're desperate. I need help.
Fast.
And I need to know who's got the legal muscle behind Marisol. He whistled. That's not a favor. That's a war. You in deep, Marston. They want custody of my daughter. Through forged documents, hidden birth records, a missing father. Someone broke into my house. And there's a sealed medical file with my name on a baby I never gave birth to.
Pause.
I'm sending you a name. You're not going to like it. Cut to email. Subject: Internal Counsel, AMC Law. Name: Cynthia Ray. I stared at it.
Ray.
The same woman who owned this cabin. The same woman who handed me champagne at Marisol's engagement party. Godmother to Kira.
Cut.
Micah's voice cracked through the speaker. She filed the paperwork for a sealed guardianship petition in 2014. Same day you went into emergency surgery. Same day the original paternity claim disappeared. Why now? Custody cases don't flare up without leverage. Someone thinks you're unstable. You have 48 hours before court date is set. I clenched the steering wheel so hard my knuckles popped. I need to move.
Now. Cut scene.
By sunrise, we were on the road. I left Kira with a friend of Micah's. Neutral ground, untraceable. I drove straight to Ray's house. Gated. Modern.
Cold.
A minimalist shrine to ambition. No cameras. Rookie mistake. I picked the lock. Door swung open like it had been waiting. The air inside smelled like lavender and toner. Every surface perfect. Framed diplomas. One photo. Marisol and Ray, arms linked, holding a baby I recognized as Kira. But the date was wrong. 2 weeks before my C-section. Basement. I moved quick. Steel cabinet in the corner.
Locked.
But the hinge was cheap. One kick.
Crack.
Open. Files. Hundreds. Each labeled by surname, initials, custody status. Mine was there. Oh, Marston/Cam. Phase 3/contingent removal approved. I froze. Below it, affidavits, pre-written statements from teachers, doctors, neighbors. Some I recognized. Some I didn't. All claiming I showed signs of emotional instability, paranoia, and poor maternal judgment. I pulled them out one by one. My hands were shaking too hard to flip fast. In the back, a flash drive. Labeled Severance 001. I pocketed it. Footsteps. Above me. I killed the light.
Cut scene.
I crept upstairs. The front door was cracked open. Someone else was here. I ducked behind the kitchen island. A man's voice.
Low. Calm.
She took it, he said into a phone.
Yeah.
All of it. My chest locked. Another voice, on speaker, crackled back. Let her run. She'll bury herself.
Cut to black.
I slipped out the side window. Tore across the lawn. Jumped the fence.
Drove.
Didn't breathe until I hit the highway.
Cut scene.
I pulled over on the shoulder, dug the flash drive out of my coat, plugged it into my laptop. It autoplayed. First file. Audio. Micah's voice. She thinks you're helping her. You let her hang herself with every thread she pulls. Second file. A video. Ray and Marisol. Laughing over wine. Ray saying, "Once Olivia breaks into my house, we'll have all the proof we need." Unstable.
Criminal.
Unfit. They'd baited me. The trap wasn't the custody case. It was me. They're not stealing her future. They're rewriting our past. I didn't cry. Not when I watched the video of Marisol and Ray planning to bait me like a dog. Not when Micah confirmed they were submitting my break-in footage to the court as evidence of mental instability. What broke me was the look on Kira's face when I came to pick her up. Eyes dull. Mouth tight. "Did I do something wrong?" she asked.
No, I said.
"You were just born into the wrong war."
Cut scene.
We drove to a diner off Route 70. Cheap coffee. Greasy booths. My laptop open. Flash drive plugged in. Micah sat across from me, sleeves rolled up, jaw set like a man preparing for a funeral. "You've got 48 hours before the emergency hearing," he said. "Less, if they move it up." "What's our move?" He tapped the table. "We go loud." "No more hiding?" He nodded. "Expose them. You do it now, or they bury you in court." I leaned back. The air stank of old fry oil and panic. "You know what they'll do to Kira if I lose." "She doesn't disappear," he said. "You do." Cut to a cheap motel outside Asheville. Room 206. Rented under my grandmother's maiden name. Micah set up 3 encrypted drives. "This one goes to the press," he said. "This one to the State Bar. And this," he tapped the third, "goes to the Department of Justice." "Too big," I whispered. "They'll silence me before it lands." "Not if you drag them into the light first." We uploaded everything. The audio. The paternity files. The custody timeline. The footage from Ray's basement. The video of Jacob. I recorded one final piece. The camera focused on me. Face hard. Voice flat. "My name is Olivia Marston. I am the legal mother of Kira Marston. What you're about to see is the truth. And it comes with risk. But silence is a cage. And I'm done being locked in it."
Cut scene.
1:12 a.m. The files were sent. Staggered delivery. Journalists. A podcast host. A rogue account that leaked sealed family court documents last year. All of them now had a copy. Micah closed the laptop. "Now we wait." I shook my head.
No.
"Now we fight."
Cut.
The next morning, the house was too quiet. Kira slept with one arm around her old stuffed elephant. I showered in 2 minutes flat, kept the bathroom door cracked open the whole time. Micah made coffee.
Strong.
No sugar. "What aren't you telling me?" I asked. He hesitated, then dropped the hammer. "I used to be engaged to Marisol." Silence. He looked me in the eye. "It was a long time ago. She tanked my clearance after I got too close to a case she was involved in. Lost my badge. My rep. And you never told me?" I didn't think it mattered. Until it did. I stepped back. This whole time, was this revenge?
No.
But now it's justice. Cut to courthouse parking lot. 3 black sedans. 1 white SUV. Ray stood outside, phone to her ear, calm as ice. I recognized the DA talking to her. Micah muttered, "They're moving to strike your testimony preemptively, claiming emotional instability and a security threat." Because I broke into Ray's house.
No.
Because they think you'll do it again. I clenched my fists. Then the twist dropped. They filed a secondary petition last night. New grounds. What grounds? Micah handed me his phone. I read the email. New evidence suggests the child may not be biologically related to Olivia Marston. Petition to dissolve prior guardianship and pursue state-assigned foster placement until new legal guardian is appointed. They weren't just taking Kira. They were erasing our history. Our bond. Our name. "I'll go to prison," I said. "But they will not take her." Micah nodded. "Then we burn them before the court date." They erased the wrong mother. I walked into that courthouse like I was walking into a fire I started myself. My boots echoed too loudly on the tile. Kira was upstairs with Micah's contact. Safe.
For now.
Inside the hearing room, every seat was filled. Journalists. Lawyers. The judge already tapping her pen with bored irritation. Marisol sat 3 rows back. Ray next to her. Both in black. Both smug. Micah nodded once from across the aisle. Then the judge called my name.
Cut scene.
The state's attorney moved first. She cited evidence of instability. The break-in. The video of me pacing Ray's hallway. I didn't flinch. Then Ray took the stand. She spoke calmly, too calmly. Ms. Marston appears erratic. Unpredictable. Dangerous even. I filed a report 2 weeks ago fearing for my safety. She didn't blink once.
Cut.
My turn. I stood. Walked to the table. My hands weren't shaking. I'd burned through every drop of fear already. Permission to submit Exhibit D through G, Micah said. Video evidence. Audio. Sworn statements. The judge allowed it. Micah hit play. The courtroom went still. The audio filled the room. Ray's voice, laughing. Once Olivia breaks in, it's over. She'll look insane. And no one will believe a woman without a title. I turned. Ray paled. Micah clicked to the next file. Video of Marisol, sitting on a velvet couch, drinking wine. She has no idea. None. That I filed the birth certificate. That I paid off Jacob to disappear. That this whole case is about control, not custody.
Gasps.
The judge held up her hand. Stop. But Micah didn't. One more file. Jacob's video. If you're watching this, it means I didn't make it out. I couldn't breathe. The courtroom couldn't either. She forged everything. She told me I wasn't Kira's father, then turned around and used my signature to make it legal. Don't trust her. Don't trust Marisol. Silence. Then, screaming. Marisol lunged up, knocked over her chair. This is illegal. You stole that. The bailiff grabbed her. Ray tried to slip out. Micah blocked the door. Federal agents entered. Badges up. Marisol and Ray were both cuffed. Cut to black. After the chaos, after the arrests, after the judge sealed the courtroom and reconvened with emergency orders, Kira was brought down to me. She saw my face. Ran straight into my arms. They said you'd lose, she whispered. That they'd win because they had the money. I kissed her forehead. Money builds a castle, I told her. But truth lights the match.
Cut scene.
Weeks passed. Court orders reversed. Custody returned. Charges filed against Marisol and Ray, fraud, conspiracy, obstruction. Micah disappeared from the spotlight. Quiet hero. No credit needed. One evening, Kira and I stood on the beach. Wind sharp. Sky pale. Her hand found mine. What happens now? She asked. I looked out at the tide. Now we live. Without lies. Without them. She squeezed tighter. You think they'll come back? People like them always try. But we won't be the same when they do. She smiled. Small but real. Promise me we'll never pretend again. I do. Sometimes the hardest truth is the one you say out loud. I was never supposed to be her mother. And yet, I'm the only one who ever fought to be. They tried to erase her. Instead, she became the only truth that mattered.